Okay, so we are now live. All right, so with our live stream now ongoing, I'll call this meeting to order of the Conservation Commission. And let me just dismiss that. So call the meeting to order here. I know I said 8 o'clock on the agenda, but as Teresa pointed out, that was just a mistake on my part. Obviously, here we're all here at 7 o'clock. So call the meeting to order with a pledge of allegiance and stand and point to a flag if you got one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. Jim, I am pointing myself towards your little flag on the camera in honor of Tyler, who's still in service. So, entertain a motion to approve the minutes from our November 3rd meeting. Made by Sherry, maybe?
Sure.
And seconded by Tom's raising his hand, so seconded by Tom. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Terrific. Now we have to submit to the town clerk the schedule of our meetings for 2022. Pretty much every single meeting will be on the first Wednesday of the month, and there's no need to move them around because of 4th of July or Labor Day, that kind of stuff. Sometimes that encounters us. So it will be Wednesday, January 5th, Wednesday, February 2nd, Wednesday, March 2nd, Wednesday, April 6th, Wednesday, May 4th, Wednesday, June 1st, Wednesday, July 6th, Wednesday, August 3rd, Wednesday, September 7th, Wednesday, October 5th, Wednesday, November 2nd, and Wednesday, December 7th. The idea is to meet at 7 p.m. and we will meet at City Hall if it's available, or we'll do Zoom virtual if the building is not open. Currently, the building.
I don't know if that's going to meet FOI. You just got to pick a spot.
We're meeting at City Hall.
Okay, then every meeting's a special meeting if you're just doing Zoom, right?
So be it.
Or-
Yep. Well, I'm not sure if the governor's executive order capability will continue into, July or August, but as it stands now, the City Hall is not being opened, beyond
Right.
like 6 p.m. So that's not a workable solution going forward. But 7 p.m. has been our traditional meeting time. So 7 p.m. is the time we're going to post with our dates.
At City Hall or
At
just
City Hall. Yep. Yeah.
Duly noted.
All right. So I'm making that motion. Anybody want to second that? Jim seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Teresa, natural resource report. Anything with the garden committee, litter committee as the year nears its end?
No.
Anything generally to report?
Well, I did, and I think I had sent emails out previously. I did get out to the Trombetta open space and have a little loop trail out there, and I'll be meeting with Joe Welsh and members of the committee that regulates Centennial Watershed State Forest, because to access that little loop trail from the existing Stockmall Trail, we need to get permission from them. It's a committee that has one member from Aquarian, one member from the DEP, and one member from the Nature Conservancy. And so they have to give approval for any recreation to go. It's only 150 feet, but it's also crossing Means Brook, which is the public drinking water supply. And if we can get that permission, then it's done. It's basically all done.
Right. Okay.
It's just been one of those things that's been kind of needling me for several years to see this 32-acre chunk of open space that we clearly have had a long range plan to get over there. That's what the Stockmall grant in part was for, and to just, it was just right across the river. You could just stand there and look at it across the river, and so close and yet so far.
Well, I've seen your car parked along the pipeline right away there many times over the past month, so it's obviously a lot of field work. Um, Moving on to Bill Dyer, as I mentioned earlier, he won't be able to participate with us, but I did talk to him prior to the meeting. Teresa and him met with Eversource. Eversource is going to be replacing all the high voltage electrical transmission towers from Monroe through Shelton. So I'm guessing that's probably Stevenson Dam all the way to the Monroe substation near Old Stratford Road. And so it's kind of a 2-year project, but it might give us some opportunity to work in these early design stages so that they're haulage roads to get the new towers in place and all work in conjunction with our trails. So it was good for Teresa. Do you want to add anything to that meeting?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a number of, what they want to do is build a bunch of new gravel access, heavy duty gravel access roads, and the Trails Committee members had, a lot of reservations about that. So Eversource, and there was 8 people from Eversource meeting with me and Bill. But they had offered to come down and, present this to the Trails Committee as well. So that might actually be a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, Bill just mentioned it to me just before the meeting here. So I said to him, it might be some opportunities. I know, like on the Turkey Trot Trail underneath the power line quarters north of 108, there's always been some issues with some the water crossings there. It might be an opportunity to improve things, improve our security at road crossings. It just it's the early stages. Additionally, Bill told me that UI tomorrow will be pulling the electricity cables to service the barn over by the dog park.
Good.
So that'll be electrified shortly thereafter, I would assume, if they bring in the cables in, and then everything gets signed off on and put a meter box in place. So I don't see Ed having joined us at all yet, so I don't know that there's anything really to update with the Shelton Canal Locks project at this moment anyway. And then moving on to review of any P&Z or inland wetland applications. Last month, Teresa, we talked about a 4-lot subdivision on Weebosset, and that's the headwaters of Ivy Brook. And there was a little confusion as to whether that was an actual application or a conceptual consideration that P&Z was undertaking. Have you heard anything from P&Z on that particular concept / project?
Yeah, it sounds like from what I've heard, it's somebody that wants to submit something, and there's a lot of hesitancy about that, what they're submitting.
Okay.
And, being told that that's just not realistic. But
right. So it's not an application at this point in time.
Right.
Okay. And it sounds like because of the wetlands in that area, they're getting input from the inland wetlands enforcement team. Okay. The next one was the 4-lot subdivision on Long Hill Avenue called Brookview Heights. We sent a letter regarding the fact that there's no open space dedication, given they use the PDD mechanism to do that residential development. Have we had any response from P&Z regarding that?
No.
Okay. And then the next one is there is an application for 63 dwellings on Ivy Brook Road. This is just off of Constitution Boulevard. It's on 3 acres, 63 dwellings. So there's no open space dedication, again, because it's a PDD. So I will pull up the drawings on that, and I'll share that screen, and we'll see where we can discuss on that. So this is, everybody see the screen share?
Yep.
All right, Constitution Boulevard here. And this is the area where Pitney Bowes used to be, and all Ivy Brook comes off of Constitution Boulevard. There is a medical building here. There is the Four Winds subdivision that's deep into the site. And then there's the data center for Royal Bank of Scotland. I think there was a California Closet used to be over here. It's basically a kind of a commercial, light industrial kind of environment. And so this, let me pull that down, come on down. Sorry, I'm pulling this off of the internet here. So this is their development, and as a PDD, there is no open space dedication. So do we want to have any comment on that, similar to what we talked about with the one off of Long Hill Avenue?
Yeah.
I think we should send a similar letter to what we did with the other PDD regarding a residential use of the PDD mechanism and not having any open space publicly dedicated open space or fee in lieu of that. Let me pull up the open space map just to so that everybody can look at that at the same time. Space. Map. Okay, so this is Ivy Brook and then Mountain View Drive. So it's this parcel here where this was divided off of it at one point in time. So this is the parcel we're talking about. And it is adjacent to our open space corridor where we're protecting the Ivy Brook. So I think it's of value to mention that its proximity to that Ivy Brook Greenway corridor and having no open space dedication is an unfortunate aspect of the PDD mechanism being used on the development. Especially when the PDD mechanism is being used for residential, when normally residential would allow a set aside of open space. Any other thoughts?
Is there a reason why they're not including open space with these? Like, if this is a policy, if you will, that we already know there should be open space, but a lot of development projections don't have it. Are they hoping that nobody sees this, or what would the reason be that it's not being included?
Well, to clarify, under the Plan Development District mechanism, there is no requirement to set aside open space. That mechanism was created to allow unique developments that really don't fit in our current zoning regs, particularly when you're in a transitory zone between a commercial, industrial, and residential zone. So like our first PDD was down off of Old Stratford Road, where it was Richardson Vicks. It was a partly office, partly research labs. So it really didn't fit within our zoning mechanism. Stop and Shop was another, I think when it was the second one, where we didn't really have a mechanism at that time to allow such a substantial retail operation. And even today, like a Fountain Square, and those are all PDDs. But it has been used for residential, such as the Four Winds, which is just in this area here. Now, when Four Winds was developed, they gave a significant open space, number 49 here along Butternut Hollow. So it's up to the planning and zoning to demand or request that an open space dedication occur within a PDD. Now, on this parcel here with 3 acres and squeezing in the 60 odd units, it would have been nice if maybe this was configured so that it was maybe a little bit more towards the southwest or south, according to the compass there. Because to this east or southeast area on Ivy Brook, I mean, I know there's a road here, but just off of this map is where our open space is occurring here. So, if they had sequestered a little bit of open space off here on the side to buffer any runoff from this now 54 odd % impervious surfaces, it would have been perhaps helpful to the preservation of Ivy Brook. I don't know.
I think you can write that in your letter, say that the PDD does not seem to be inappropriate, but not to the benefit of the city of Shelton from the conservation standpoint for the following reasons. You can say that based on the Four Winds proposal that had a sizable amount of open space set aside to protected Butternut Hollow Brook, if you want to call it, or watershed, that we would ask that the site plan be revisited to allow for exactly what you described. Better buffer to the Means Brook corridor, sidewalks to allow for future sidewalks, potentially along Ivy Brook Road, and any other kind of amenity that may be possible with a set aside, with a open space set aside. I mean, it seems like this is not the way, full. There's a reason why we have a open space set aside, and this proposal does not embody that. So we should either see the effort on the site plan, or we should see it in fee in lieu of. But we're not seeing anything. So how can this be a positive thing for the city of Shelton? I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, from a conservation perspective, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's a high density urban development here, and not appropriate for the situation in this location, residential location. Doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I'm even surprised from a planning perspective, because I know they had this as a conceptual that they were likely discussing and making some recommendations before they've made a formal application. But Constitution Boulevard does have some bus stops along it, and they have the signage there. And there's no way for somebody in this residential to walk the couple hundred yards to get to a bus stop, which seems odd to me.
Right.
That's just poor planning.
Right. And there was an effort at one point to have, I believe, to run sidewalks up Constitution Boulevard at some point.
Yeah, I know Regis always used to say that the right of way for Constitution Boulevard in some places is wider than where the Merritt Parkway is, but that may have been accurate or not. But I know it's pretty wide right of way.
Well, not the Merritt Parkway's got 300-foot right of way on either side, so forget that.
Yeah, you would be much more familiar with that given your participation in that group. But I would make a motion that we write a letter of that nature to planning and zoning, outlining some of the points that Jim just raised. So looking for a second to that.
I'll second the motion.
Seconded by Sherry. Any other discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. I'll stop the share on that. Going back to our agenda, open space trust account. I asked Teresa to get me the contact for the finance department. One of the things we're required to do under a ordinance or charter is to give a report to the Board of Aldermen on the status of our open space trust account. And given that over the years there hasn't been a contribution made to it as was called for in our charter or ordinance, I think it's time that we did a review of it and an accounting of it, particularly in light of the sale of open space. I'm curious as to if that money was at least deposited into the open space trust account from the one that we wrote the letter about.
So did you make a formal request for that, Tom?
I have not. Teresa sent me the new contact, but the person that we usually dealt with in the finance department has retired.
Yes.
So I will be making that request.
We have to make let's make a formal request for whatever you want.
Sure. Yeah, I don't necessarily need to have the board or commission to approve it. I can do it as a chair. So.
Right.
But I think it's
That's good
Teresa-
for January. Makes sense for January meeting. We can discuss whatever happened.
yeah, I
Whatever-
mean, surprisingly, obviously the city runs on a fiscal year ending June 30th, but the charter asks us to make the report ending December 31st. So
Okay.
it's timely
Okay,
for a couple reasons. So
good.
with that, I
Who is
don't
the new finance director?
well, Charles Hiller, is it? I believe is
Yeah,
still
that
finance
sounds-
director.
Paul
Paul
Hiller.
Hiller, I'm sorry. But the person within the finance department who would give us the report, Kathy Zapp, she's no longer there.
Oh,
So who it would be, I mean, certainly I could, I'm going to send the request to Paul, but actually Teresa sent me a different contact person. Lynn. So
okay.
so that's that'll be in the works, available for next month. So
All right. Is Ed going to show up for this Wesley Drive thing, or are we going to go review that now?
we can review that letter that we talked about sending. Teresa drafted it per all of our notes from our last meeting, and Ed McCreary reviewed it, and I reviewed it. So I've sent it to you.
Ed made a lot of very good changes to it, like a lot of that whole opening paragraph or two, or that's Ed.
Yeah. Did you have some concerns or thoughts to change it, Jim, or?
I did, but I think if you've already I did, only because I think it's I'm going to say wordy for what we're trying to get across. It has a lot of unnecessary adverbs in it that don't need to be involved to get the point across. But that's just my own read. If Ed and you and Teresa are comfortable with it, then I'm happy. There's no reason to beat an old horse, frankly. So and I'm not an English teacher. I just write a lot of directed communication in order to solicit a response, and for many years. So that's my take on things. When I look at things, I look for what is it in the letter that you are requesting, and does the letter have the factual background to justify what the request is? I think that is certainly have the background. I'm just not sure the letter indicates what you want done in the letter. What is it that you want to think? And I think you made, Teresa or somebody at the end said, in summary, there was something about we just don't want this to happen again. I thought we should be a little stronger on the resolve on that, in terms of that, this should have never happened, and that safeguards should be put in place so it doesn't happen again. This was a mistake. This was an error purely by the facts that this was an error, and there's no punitive measures being taken here, but we don't want it to happen again, or this commission is strongly, we were affronted by it. We took this as an offense, frankly, and I think more follow through.
I can see adding that to read you what the current last paragraph says. It's in conclusion, we believe the sale of Shelton open space to the homeowners at 49 Wesley Drive was irregular and ill-advised, and should not be used as a precedent for the sale of open space to homeowners as a reward for encroaching into public open space, public property, nor for the purpose of expanding building lots that were approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that is a little bit, I can see what you're saying, Jim. That's a lot of legalese kind of reading it there, but
and it's
perhaps
not the word
Teresa-
reward. The word reward is not appropriate, I don't think. I think you have to really be careful on that last paragraph as to what you're really looking to have going forward. I would study that a little bit. That's all, but that's, yes, that's my 2 cents. And
well, that's why we're talking about
I have a
it,
different
absolutely.
take on these things a little bit, probably. So
I did like one word you used there, that it was an affront to us on conservation. I think we can maybe amend that last paragraph to include something that shows strongly that ill-advised is kind of a soft way of
Yeah.
saying, it, but I think saying that we felt it was an affront to the environmental advice that we have consistently given through the years.
Most important part is that you documented this, and it's clear that it shouldn't be moved forward, and you got that point across, and I think that's good, and that's really what we're all about. So, okay.
Okay, so I think we talked about sending the letter as we did. I think we can amend that last paragraph, Teresa, before we send it out tomorrow.
I have a quick,
One other little thing too is when you after the word encroach, we have up. It should probably be upon. It should be upon. That's a minor little
Sure.
thing. And then in that last paragraph, as Jim mentioned, I think the word "we believe" can be taken out too, and just say, in conclusion, the sale.
Right.
Take out the "we believe," that we be more forceful with that. Those are
Okay.
my two thoughts.
Good.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. Sherry?
I was wondering, when it's signed, it just says Teresa's name. Does she?
No, so it's not my name.
No, that was
Oh.
just the email itself.
Oh,
came
that
with
was just the
as an
email. All
attachment.
right.
No, it would go out with my name as chairman for the commission.
Yeah, good. It must have been the way the email was, because I thought I wouldn't want her to take all the onus in case there's flack from this. It should be the commission, and this way.
It will be from the commission, and
Good.
and I'll have it signed as chairman for the commission. Teresa's just our agent, so there should.
And then, well, that's what I figured, but like you said, I was reading it incorrectly from the email.
Sure.
And then, who else gets a copy of this letter besides the homeowners?
Most everybody.
Really, I would like the letter, obviously, to go to the Board of Aldermen and the mayor, and I think planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning.
Well,
Those are the three.
who's the primary recipient and who's being copied?
Primary recipient should be to the president of the Board of Aldermen.
Okay, and everyone else is copied.
Correct.
Corporation Council.
Yeah, that too.
That'll do it. That'll get it all everywhere.
Yeah.
Believe me.
And there will be a reaction, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You can count on that. And that's good.
That's
good.
okay.
That's what we want. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I have no
hope
problem
there
in,
I'd be-
being consistent in what we stand up for. We're to be
I'd
the
be more
environmental
concerned if there
consciousness of the
wasn't.
community. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. With that item out of the way, we are kind of at the end of our meeting so briskly. Any comments by members? I'll go in the order that people join the meeting. So Jim Tate.
I'm going to wish everybody a happy holiday,
There you
and
go.
hope everybody gets what they want from their Santa, and look forward to seeing you all in the new year in person, because this is at least one time. But have a good and safe holiday. And gee, I'm awful sorry to hear, Tom, that you got this stuff, because boy, can be a devastating blow sometimes. So
Yeah, I think I'll be all right.
luck with it.
Thank you.
Sherry, you were the second one to join the meeting, and you have close experience of someone having had COVID. So any advice for Tom, I'm sure he'd appreciate it.
One day at a time, just like
Yeah.
life in general, take good care of yourself. It sounds like you are definitely staying away from the rest of your family and quarantining. So that's the best thing you could do for the rest of the people in your life.
Yeah, they've
And then-
never been happier.
Good advice.
And I just came back from Kentucky. I went to
Wow.
Dimitri's now, well, he's been a major since I think May, but he's now stationed in Fort Knox.
Oh,
So no more West Point. And
Uh-huh.
I went in August, but this time Andy got to go with me. And truthfully, the media and the TV made us very concerned about traveling. We were really, as older people, and the lines and it went as smooth as it was insane. What a wonderful, safe, easy vacation we had. And we went to Nashville, Tennessee, and we saw the opera. land and it just, I'm not going to worry about things anymore because every time you worry, it just doesn't make sense. It all works out.
Good.
And Merry Christmas to everyone. Have a blessed holiday.
Teresa, I think you were next to join the meeting.
Just, I hope you feel better, Tom.
Thanks, Teresa.
And then Tom.
Well, thanks for all the well wishes, and everybody have a safe and wonderful holiday, and we'll talk in the new year.
Good.
I'll be a little more, I'll have a little more energy next time.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Well, I will continue the well wishes, Tom. I had COVID for a bit myself, and it really wasn't impactful to my life other than the quarantining. So I'm looking forward to getting out to see my mom since she has moved out to Chicagoland. So give her a call every day, and she gets a little weepy at times, but she has settled into her new surroundings.
How's that Colorado job going, Tom?
We could talk about that off camera, Jim.
All right, that's an inside joke. All right.
But anyway, I wish everybody well for Christmas, and here at my vocation, it is go time, and you see all the cars driving down the road with our product on the roof. So as you can imagine, it is interesting. I did learn a lesson this year, is that if the Shelton High School has a pretty good football team, it's kind of iffy if you want to use them for your staff during Christmas season, because they won their game last night, so now they're into the semifinals on Sunday. So all the guys that were going to be helping me in the parking lot and this and that, they're training, and so even though they didn't have the Derby Shelton Thanksgiving game, they've been doing training, and it's kind of pulled them away from their availability here, which is totally fine. But, it does cause a little disruption and juggling of balls to make sure I have all my spots filled. So
What did they play last night?
Hall.
Hall?
Yeah. And they run pretty well. It was pretty close. It was like number 5 versus number 4. They were right in the middle of the bubbles. But now the next game, I think, is Fairfield Prep, which might be a little tougher for them. So,
yeah.
But so with that all said, Merry Christmas to everybody, and we stand adjourned.
Thank you.
Bye,